All right, let's get right into it. We're about to demystify one of the most powerful and, let's be honest, kind of mysterious things you use every single day, the YouTube recommendation engine.
You know this screen. Of course you do. You pop open the app, and poof, there it is. A list of videos that feels like it was handpicked just for you. It's almost like it's reading your mind, right? But what you're really looking at isn't magic. It's the end of a massive, sophisticated filtering funnel.
I mean, really stop and think about that for a second. How on earth does it know you're suddenly into woodworking, or that you'd be the perfect person to watch a deep dive on a movie from the 90s?
Well, as the Google engineers behind it explain, it's definitely not magic. It's a carefully crafted system, one of the most advanced of its kind, built to solve a problem that is, frankly, almost unimaginably huge.
And when I say unimaginably huge, I am not exaggerating one bit. Let's just look at the raw numbers the system is dealing with every single second. First, you've got the users. The system has to come up with unique, personalized recommendations for over 1 billion different people. 1 billion individual tastes, moods, and viewing habits.
And what's it choosing from? A library of over 10 billion videos. Think about that. Every time you refresh your homepage, the system has to sift through 10 billion options to find a handful just for you.
So, the engineers boil it down to 3 core challenges. First is scale, which we just talked about. It's just massive. Second is freshness. New videos are uploaded constantly. The system can't just recommend old stuff, it has to surface what's new and relevant right now. And finally, noise. It has to figure out if you actually liked a video, which is way harder than just knowing if you clicked on it. So, how in the world do you solve a problem that big? Well, you do what any good engineer does. You break it down into smaller pieces. And YouTube's answer is a really elegant 2-stage funnel. This image really shows the whole idea perfectly. On the left, you have the entire ocean of YouTube videos. The first stage, called candidate generation, is like a giant net that pulls in a few hundred videos that might be relevant. Then, the second stage, ranking, takes that smaller batch and inspects each one carefully to pick the absolute best dozen or so to actually show you. A great way to think about it is like casting a movie. Candidate generation is the casting call. You're just trying to get a big group of actors in the room who seem relevant for the part. You're not being too picky yet. But ranking, that's the final audition. Now you're looking really closely at that small group to find the absolute best fit, and then you put them in order of preference. So let's zoom in on that first step, the casting call. How does the system even start to find those first few hundred videos from a sea of billions? It uses what's called a deep neural network. Essentially, it looks at your watch history, things you've searched for, and even basic info like where you are, and it basically says, okay, other people who are similar to you and watched these things also ended up watching these videos over here. It's casting a really wide but really smart net.
Right, but that brings us back to that freshness problem. If the system is just looking at what people have watched in the past, how does it ever find a brand new video that was uploaded 5 minutes ago and is just starting to go viral?
This is a classic problem in machine learning. These models are trained on historical data, so they have a natural bias towards things that are already popular and have a long track record. They're good at looking backward, but not so good at seeing what's happening right now.
And their solution is actually pretty brilliant. They give the model an extra piece of information for every video, its age. If you look at the graph, the green line is what really happens. A video suddenly explodes in popularity. Without knowing the video's age, the model just predicts some flat average, that's the blue line. But by feeding it the age, the model learns the pattern of viral videos. The red line shows the result. It can now accurately predict that popularity spike and get that video in front of you right as it's peaking, not a week later. Okay, so the casting call is over. We have a few hundred promising candidates. Now it's time for the final audition. It's time for ranking.
At this point, with just a few hundred videos to look at instead of billions, the system can afford to get really detailed. It can analyze hundreds of different things about each video to predict the one metric that YouTube decided matters more than anything else.
And that metric is not just about getting you to click. For a long time, the goal was click-through rate. But now the goal is expected watch time. The system isn't just asking, will you click this? It's trying to predict, if you click this, how long are you actually going to watch it for? That's a huge difference. And this quote from the research paper says it all. When you only care about clicks, you end up rewarding clickbait.
Misleading titles and thumbnails that get you to click but don't deliver. By switching to watch time, the system is now optimized to find content that you find genuinely satisfying.
So here's how that ranking works. Another powerful neural network looks at each of the final candidates. It considers hundreds of features, like have you watched this channel before? How long ago did you watch a video on this topic? Then, for each video, it spits out a score. It's prediction of how long you specifically will watch it. The videos with the highest scores get the top spots on your home screen. Simple as that.
Okay, so that's the deep dive. We've got a two-stage funnel, it's predicting watch time, but why does any of this actually matter to you? Well, this entire system, this funnel, is the reason your YouTube homepage feels so incredibly personal. It's how a platform with a literal ocean of content can, in less than a second, find the dozen or so videos that feel like they were made just for you. So what this funnel really delivers is pretty amazing. It gives you a personalized feed from an impossibly huge menu. It lets you discover new creators and topics you would never, ever have found on your own. And most importantly, it creates a system that values your actual time and satisfaction over a cheap click.
So the next time you're up late and YouTube serves you that one perfect video that sends you down a rabbit hole and becomes your new obsession, just remember, it wasn't an accident. It wasn't a lucky guess. It was the carefully calculated result of this massive, intelligent funnel, doing its job to find exactly what you wanted to watch next.